All right. This is episode 102, Real Estate Fight Club. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Fight Club. What's going on, Jen Mertlin?
Hello, Monica. What's up?
Well, it's been a rough couple of days at my house. We had to put down my very old and sweet best friend, Dory.
We'll dedicate this episode to her.
Can we?
Yes.
It will be great. She was the best Beagle friend any girl could ever want, and we miss her so bad.
She wasn't even that loud, and most Beagles are known for being loud.
Yeah, she wasn't loud, and she wasn't smelly until like the last months of her life. And then she gets a full pass. When you're 17, like you can smell like however you want, right? What would that be in
17-year-olds smell also?
That's true. 17 times 7 is what? 119. She would have been the equivalent of a 119-year-old human. She gets to stink a little. Anyway, thanks for letting us dedicate this episode to Dory. All right. Jen and I, are you doing well?
Yes, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, good. Jen and I are going to duke it out. Today's episode of Real Estate Fight Club, Jen and I are going to duke it out over this. What happens when your buyer is working with other agents or another agent? What do you do if your buyer is working with another agent? What say you, Jen Mertlin?
What's the question?
What do you do if you find out your buyer's cheating on you?
There, Monica, click. That's what I do.
You just hang up. You just cut them out of your life?
Not really. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to be funny.
I know you are funny.
I think I would ask some questions.
All right.
I would say,
what does that look like?
Well, it depends on the client too, because I do deal with a lot of investors, and sometimes in certain situations, it actually kind of makes sense for them to work with other agents, but then I explain what my role would be.
Okay.
Like I'll only tell them then what I have coming up specifically. I'm not going to be like aggressively searching for a property because they never hired me to do that. Or if they would like to hire me to do that, then we can, but here's the buyer agent agreement.
Right. Okay. So you get into contract with them if you are going to do the work.
Like I would with any buyer. So that actually had happened to me recently.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And the buyer fired us and said that they would be moving in a different direction. And I was like, well, that's interesting and makes no sense. So I asked a few more questions.
Okay.
And it just was not making sense. And I found out that this buyer had purchased a home with another agent. And so I called the agent and I was like, I mean, I'm sure you didn't know because I didn't know. Like there was usually, you can tell, but we had a buyer agent agreement. And so she's paying me, but it's just I think part of it is just having the conversation and being like, my perception is I can understand why they think that makes sense. Like there's something in their line of thought and logic where working with multiple agents makes sense. And it's usually that they don't know that you have access to everything, or they feel like you don't, or they don't trust you, that you're really listening, or that you'll give them, everything that you have, or that you will work on their behalf or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so if that's the issue, then we can solve that.
Now I have a question. You said you called the other agent, and because you had the buyer's agreement, they're going to pay you. Are you just getting a tip, like a tip fee or a referral fee from the deal, or you're getting paid?
We talked, and it was like she had shown the same amount of houses that I had. So it was like, I'll just take in this case, it was 30%.
So you took 30%. Yeah. Okay.
Because I mean, he worked really hard too.
Got it. So that's fair.
And I didn't want to. And quite frankly, I'm happy that I don't deal with buyers. So I was like, thank God.
Right.
God. And then I looked at the house and I was like, that actually seems like a really good house for her. So great.
Okay. If that had been the listing agent and they had just gone into an open house, would you have pressed for the money?
For the whole thing.
Yeah, baby.
What, right? Wouldn't you?
I've never chased after a buyer for money, even under a contract. I like to just make my life really freaking easy. And that kind of stuff stresses me out a lot.
It's not stressful. It's
It,
the
it,
agreement. We had an
it's
agreement.
stressful. It is stressful for me.
That's it.
Hey, this is what makes up this podcast right here. You and me, baby. You and me.
Fight about this. Go after the money you deserve. Click.
We did an episode on this already. So let's stick to this topic. Please, you're making me uncomfortable. So what prompted you to make that call? What gave you what prompted you to question them walking away? Because you said something wasn't sitting right, and they had already had a contract in place. You found out what
I found out
what didn't sound right.
You can tell. So like for us, we ask a lot of questions. We do a buyer consultation. I mean, I had shown these buyers a few homes, like 3, but it's like, and by the third one, it's like, okay, something's not working. And then we were talking like, what is not working? What are we looking for? What are we not finding? And like, I mean, if I have a buyer, the goal is to get them under contract.
Right.
And if we see more than 10 houses, even in this market, and it's not working, like what is wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
for sure.
once you know somebody, you understand their language patterns. And so when they say something that they've never said before, or in a way that's never been said, you're like, it's wrong.
Red flag. Red flag.
Yeah. I don't know. Right. It just struck me as weird. There wasn't anything particular. It was just like, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I think this for me goes back to the word that comes up all the time in our conversations, which is expectations and setting them.
You were going to say integrity.
Well, there's that too, but the expectation piece. And if you are not doing what I'll just call for this conversation a hard-nosed buyer consultation, where you're really laying out the relationship, the commitments, the goals, the process, all of it, like really leading them through it, then you are more likely to have this happen than not. I'm not saying you can prevent it, because you can't, because you can do all the right things and still get jacked around. It just, you're right. People don't have, they think 2 agents better than 1, right?
Sometimes it is, right? So like in this case, I was like, wow, that house is really good. I'm surprised it like didn't come up on my radar. But then I learned it was because they had shown like another house of this agent's from before, and this wasn't even on the market. It was like so like that's why. And like it is based in relationships, right? So I was like, wow, that was really good. And like if there had been some process that this agent did differently, then I'd be like, hey, can I just send you all my buyers?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, like I like to talk to you about partnering. Yes, right, exactly. And I think getting their commitment, I know you use the buyer agency agreement. I use it as a talking point because I don't chase after the money.
Like, hey, we can do, if you see it for sale by owner, or one of your neighbors or cousins, or somebody knows somebody, we can help you with that. If you want to build, we can help you with that. And like, it does, you can cover all the bases then, because they don't know this stuff. And by the way, here's how I get paid.
Yes, that's right. And so are we working together, and are we exclusively working together? Like, are we dating? Are we getting engaged here? What? It's an engagement, right? Yes, I think I still know that a lot of agents aren't taking those initial conversations seriously enough. And that actually leads down a path of all things being difficult, not just them running like crazy, talking to anybody that will listen to them, but them trying to lead you, and them thinking they know more than you, and all of this. And all of it. Yeah.
Be a Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart, right.
I also think too, like as an agent, if we are not telling our clients what we're doing to help them, they assume we're doing nothing. So if you are in business with this buyer and you are to help them find a home, you have to like think to yourself, what is their, and they probably didn't say it, but what do they think that you're doing to help them do that? And if all you're doing is setting up like an online search, you're doing it wrong.
Mhm.
Like, you've got to also be circle prospecting, talking to other agents. And when you do that, you need to communicate it back to them. Hey, I talked to 20 agents today, even 10, 5, 2, whatever. I talked to 2 agents today that do business in that area. And right now they said they don't have anything coming up, but they'll keep us posted. And like, if you, in the first 72 hours, if you do that stuff, the trust goes
That's
through
right.
the roof.
That's 100% right. I'm just coming up with this analogy that buyers are sort of like boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, like lovers, right? If you do not give them that attention, the comfort, the whatever, they'll go find it somewhere. They will. They will. You got to pay attention and plug in, right?
Right. Well, it's like anything. I mean, it's any relationship, personal or otherwise. It's especially with sellers too, but this isn't a seller podcast.
Yeah. No, not this particular one. Yeah.
Seller.
Do you think it's, I don't know if I say these words, and I don't think you probably say these words, but are there some, is there a script around this that is, hey, if you ever feel like you are wanting to contact another agent, or you heard that this agent had this, whatever, like, is it important to kind of say the thing and put it on the table?
Really good idea, because I don't say it, and I think I'm going to add it, because how many calls do you get from buyers about your listings? And then they say things like, well, I didn't want to bother my agent. And I'm like, that's what they get paid to do. You should call them.
Right. That's the language is, you're not bothering me.
Yeah.
You need to bother me. Like, you need to be calling me.
This is a group. Like, we're finding you a house together. Like, you're going to see stuff that I don't see. I'm going to see stuff that you don't see. So call me immediately. Even if there's another agent, especially if there's another agent, because that agent represents the seller and you don't want to call them. But at the same time, as an agent, pick up your damn phone.
Right. Right. And how about the proactive side of this, which is, and I know you used to have a schedule of this, a proactive call to check in. Hey, here's what we did for you this week. That's listings and buyers. Hey, the search isn't generating anything. I did talk to a couple agents that sell in that area. They don't have anything coming up. Just wanted to let you know we're still rocking.
I would say at a minimum, have it scheduled or just update them when you do something. But like, at a minimum, you need to update them once a week, if not twice. In this market, you're going to have to talk to, in these kind of markets, you're going to have to talk to your buyer almost every day.
That's a lot. They become an A-level relationship.
It's a lot of communication, but they're freaking out. Everybody's telling them like all this craziness and getting them amped up, especially to a client, buyer or seller in today's market. 1 hour feels like 20 days.
And this is true. This is true. And the stress level is there and all of it.
They're so stressed out.
Right. And don't forget the quintessential customer service formula, which is tell them what you're going to do it, and then tell them that you did it.
Hello.
And we forget that last piece. I forget that last piece.
And tell them when you're going to communicate again.
Yeah. Right. And next step. Yep. So true. There's a fourth. Look at us.
Boom.
Write a book. Better write a book.
Yeah. I like your idea though, about saying like, if you hear of a house or if you see a house, like call me, because the other, like, it's just like, I represent you. And
right. Like, I can call that agent.
Yeah, exactly. And it's better for you if I call the agent. That's what I tell people for that are thinking about building. I say, look, we have gotten, as an agent, we are able to negotiate better deals than you can for yourself. So it is important that you do not go directly to the builder.
Yep. Well, because the builder is looking out for the builder.
Hello.
Yeah. That's like walking into the courtroom when you've been accused of the crime and saying, I'll just use the prosecution's attorney. It's fine. No big deal.
Exactly.
Yep. All right.
Anything to add, or you want to go back to your corner?
I need a rest.
All right. Well, let's go back. We'll take a short break, hear a word from our partners. And when we return, that wasn't really a punch. We'll have some final tips.
There you go. That's true. Welcome back. Let's get back to the battle inside of the ring. Jen, what do we do? Oh, did we have like some other thoughts on this? Do we have a street fight, or what do we have? Tiebreaker?
We have some good thoughts on it for sure. So most people are kind of like in line with us, and it's just like they explain what it really means. Like for me, I think you need to find out why that makes sense to them logically, and that will
Mhm.
tell you what you need to explain, rather than like getting upset and being like, you have to only work with one. Like they mostly don't know how it works.
Mhm.
And
This
I
is
think if you get upset, you need to look at like yourself as an agent and say, am I doing everything possible for
Mhm.
my clients?
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, you know what's interesting to me is if you were your own client, and let's say I needed to find a house for my family, and we were in a predicament like a lot of our clients are, time crunch, stress. I mean, what would I be doing for myself?
Right.
Where would I be digging? How would I be making focus? What would I be doing for myself and my family that I'm not doing
Boom.
for them because they're an average buyer, right?
That's a perfect question to ask.
Right. So if you look at it,
I don't think you can have like too many buyers, but I mean, there are different levels of buyers, right? So asking that question for the really highly motivated,
yeah.
people, like the sellers you made homeless,
Yes. Yep.
like, what do you need to be doing? I'm trying to think of if I have like a checklist of things that we do. I have like a listing checklist. Do you have like a buyer checklist?
I don't because it's pretty basic. It's, either calling agents or you're searching FSBOs, or you're sending letters. I mean, it's that outreach piece.
Knocking on doors or
Yeah. I mean, if you're that
we're
focused.
calling I mean, if they have specific areas where they want to look, we'll circle
Mhm.
prospect those areas.
And here's the thing, you do that and properly inform them of what your techniques are, regardless of the outcome, you have a client for life.
Yeah.
You have a client for life.
They
If
won't
you,
use another agent,
right.
it will
Right.
never, it won't even like
Nope.
occur to them.
Yep. I found a FSBO for a client recently, or not recently. I guess it's been about 2 years maybe. And they were going to be homeless. They had kids, the whole thing. They were panicked. And I freaking just started scouring, found this. They bought it. They love it. That's hero level shit, right? I mean, it is. It makes me happy too.
It does when you can do your job.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Fair call. All right. I think that's going to have to be the end of today's. I don't even want to call it a battle. I call it more of a skirmish. Not really. I think just more information today. Hope you guys found it helpful. Hope there were a couple nuggets in there that you can take and run with your current buyers and any buyers you have coming up. So
I'd be curious if there's anything else that y'all do that
yeah.
like even reaching out to your own network. You're on Facebook I
Mhm.
mean, we did that on Facebook once. We went door knocking. We're like, hey, we're looking for a house. Our client wants to live in this part of town and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we didn't get a lot of traction, but it's still something, right? And they think it's a big deal.
You know what that is? That's your calls. That's your call for your week to your sphere, because those guys now are like, damn,
Yeah.
Jen's really working hard for her clients.
Right.
That's a great call to make. And you're right. It's probably not going to generate anything. Maybe it will, but it sure does convey the level of effort that you're willing to make.
Listings. Yeah. Get some listings.
That's right. You might. All right, guys, head on over to our Facebook page, which is Real Estate Fight Club Podcast, and let us know if we're missing any great ideas or if you'd like to hear a new topic that you have in your mind that you'd like to see Jen and I go head to head on.
Oh, yeah. And
almost like toe to toe.
Yeah. Oh, no.
That was old.
If you like this episode, please share it with somebody, with an agent, actually, not just anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other agents, please.
Yeah, other agents. And if you have questions about EXP and want to know why Monica and I moved over here, give us a call, 513-400-1691. Thanks, Monica. And
bye, Jen. See you next time.
yeah, bye.